Hi,
Morning, Sue.
morning, Dan. So where are you located now?
We're in Cody, Wyoming.
Uh.
We're headed for Yellowstone later today. And we went to the Cody Rodeo last night, so we're all fired up for horses.
Was it fun?
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to do it again for 10 years or so, but it was good. It was a good rodeo. I'm not quite sure why people want to ride bucking broncos and bulls. It looks like a good way to beat yourself up.
One guy got thrown and then stepped on by the horse.
I had a friend in Newcastle. I didn't know this about him when I first met him. He was one of the bankers in town, young guy. And he was a rodeo person in high school in Indiana. And then he went on to compete as an adult. I just could never get over that. This banker, you know.
I wonder what his
Event.
event was. Was he a bull rider or a roper or?
I think he was a roper, although he did broncs when he was younger.
There's quite a skill to that roping. I sort of have to admire that.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think the crowd got most excited about the girls in the barrel races and the you know, you don't worry about people getting hurt too much with that, and it lasts a little. Bull riding doesn't last very long.
You get off real quick.
Yeah.
They don't get any points for that if they get off real quick. There was one series of events, of bull riding events, I think 6 different attempts, and only one stayed on long enough to get any points.
Yeah, that was my least favorite. Was the bull riding.
Mhm. So Sue, you've attended a lot of rodeos?
Yeah, I spent the majority of my life in Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
Morning, Dave.
Morning.
Morning, David.
We're talking about rodeo. What was your competition in rodeo, Dave?
Myself. I'm not a big rodeo fan. I know a lot of people like them, and that's fine, but I think they're kind of mean to animals for no good purpose. That's my opinion.
We went to the rodeo twice when we were down in Florida, Dave. They have a big one there in Arcadia. And about twice was enough, in my opinion. It's one of those things that is good to experience maybe once, maybe twice. And after that, you're right. It's not good for the animals, and the people who do it are stupid. They endanger themselves that much.
Well, let's see. Don't hold back. Tell us what your opinion is.
And bull riding and stuff, that's dangerous. For the people and the animals. But
Yeah, I haven't been in decades, and that's fine with me.
Yeah.
They said yesterday was the 93rd day in a row that they'd had this rodeo, and it was the last day for the season.
Really?
93 days in a row they've been doing this.
Wow.
It just seems to me like such a contradiction to have so much don't be cruel to animals stuff going on. And then what they do to these bulls and steers and horses to get them to act the way they do is pretty poor, seems to me.
That is.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that there hasn't been such an outcry from animal rights people on that. I think maybe that's why we enjoyed the roping and the barrel racing and things like that, that there's some skill involved, and the kind of thing that ranchers use daily in their lives to work the cattle. But the bull riding, I don't see that one at all.
No,
Yeah.
I'm with you, Dan.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. In Blazing Saddles, Mungo rode a bull, so he rides it into town in that movie. Alex Karras was the actor. He rides it and he goes, "You can't park that animal there." Just riding it like a horse. Morning, Stephen.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Morning.
What's going on around Indianapolis, West Newton today?
Things are pretty slow. We did get some cows vaccinated in worm last week, and got about 5 more loads of corn to haul to get the bins cleaned, and trying to keep the wife working hard, mowing grass and
Yeah,
pulling
we're,
weeds. I'm
Thanks
having
for
more
the-
success with some of that than others, as you can imagine.
A little bit more back talk from some than others also.
well, in terms of news, Loring has pneumonia and Beth is on the same antibiotics she used. Doctor did not say she has pneumonia, but she has the same symptoms. So they're both under the weather and on medication for it. So we definitely need to remember them in our prayers when the time comes. I know this is a little early, but I thought I'd tell you now while I'm thinking about it.
Is that what he was talking about last week?
Yeah, they've been to the doctor this week and the doctor has diagnosed him with pneumonia and her with all the same symptoms, but not necessarily with actual pneumonia. And John and Betty are on vacation, so
Yeah.
we won't see them today.
I had a friend who had, one of the guys from the board at Wilmington had COVID, a mild case. But then a couple weeks later, he started feeling bad again. It was pneumonia then, and he's had it for 6 weeks now.
Yeah,
They've tried everything and can't seem to lick it.
Wow.
I'm
I've
trying
seen
to
it.
get over it. I tested positive on Monday. So it's been a kind of a tough week around here too.
Oh. Are you
Who
feeling
has-
better?
I'm better yesterday than today, sort of ups and downs, but I can't take any of the new meds that work because of the meds that I'm already taking.
Can you
Well,
take
stay on-
anything to make you feel better?
Tylenol,
That's okay.
yeah, that helps.
What were your symptoms?
I suppose about the same as Steve's and everybody else's. Cold, flu, ×2 and that sort of thing.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Maria said that Jay and Elena have mild cases of COVID. But they're at the lake at Quaker Haven, so.
Okay.
Jay and Elena, wow.
We just keep trying to outrun it. Faster and faster.
Is that why you're on the move?
That's right.
As fast as you're moving, I'd say you're gonna win.
I didn't hear you say that.
Cody.
I've been surprised how many people avoided the first round or two of COVID, but have caught it now. And I don't know whether it's much more infectious than some of the earlier ones or not, but there are just so many people either testing positive or negative, but having some of the same symptoms. So it's not gone away.
I managed to avoid it, I guess, for 2.5 years, but then it just sort of showed up.
Yep.
Now, this new strain is much more contagious.
We're gonna go get our booster shots that have that in it.
Yeah, I need to do that too. Morning, Jonathan.
Good morning.
There's a strange looking face.
That's pretty cold.
Morning, Roger.
Older brother, the youngest brother.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
We're not hearing you too well, Roger. Montana's too far away, yes?
Been
I
known to
think he's
mumble.
back in North Carolina.
Oh, really? Wow.
So we've got Montana represented here, Wyoming.
You all down at Cody?
We are down in Cody.
Did you see Buffalo Bill? Yeah.
We did. Went to the museum yesterday afternoon. Went to the rodeo last night.
Terrific. There's a great Walmart in Cody. Have lots of good stuff.
Oh, yeah?
So you go all the way to Cody, Wyoming to go to Walmart?
Well, not lately.
Surely there's one closer to you than that.
Yeah, they don't have the same inventory, so.
No buffalo chips?
No, probably not. And best array of lean and tree greeting cards on the planet. So.
I may make a trip out there. I like those.
Wyoming is,
Oh,
I was gonna say
Go ahead.
Wyoming's so sparsely populated with Quakers. They basically have one monthly meeting and about 5 worship groups scattered around the state. But it's just called Wyoming Monthly Meeting. Covers the whole state.
Fairly sparsely populated anyway. I think Dave and I drove a truck from southeast Wyoming up to Newcastle. And all morning long, we saw one car coming the other way. In the afternoon, we saw 2.
Stayed overnight in Newcastle. Wyoming.
How are the sunflower seeds working out, Steve? Still getting traffic?
pretty well died out. They're not as pretty as they were earlier. But we have people every once in a while will drive in and take a few heads. Don't know what to do with the rest of them. You want some down there in Florida to plant?
My next question was, what are you gonna do with the rest of them? Get the car
Good
back
question.
out.
I know some people make silage out of the sunflower plants. We not equipped to do that, but
People feed a lot of birds.
yes.
Well, we saw many, many, many acres of sunflowers on the way out here.
Mhm.
Oh. I bet that was pretty.
They are pretty.
Norma has a prelude for us since it's time to begin. So, Well, by way of announcements, the only one that I'm aware of, and it just came up, is that Steve and Lynn are going to be gone on monthly meeting Sunday, or planning to possibly be gone on monthly meeting Sunday. And so I wonder if we could move it back 1 week to the next week. I don't know what the date is. I guess I could look real fast. The 17th be the 24th, I believe, or the 25th. 25th. Would that be okay with friends to move it to the 25th?
That's fine. I'll be there.
Okay, no, okay. Great, okay. Are there joys or concerns to share this morning?
Our little great niece Maggie has completed her second round of chemo. And the blood count numbers that they watch, because they're supposed to bottom out and then bounce back up, have done just that. So she is hoping to get out of the hospital sometime this week for a 10-day respite before she has to go back and start the whole chemo process over again. So we're very grateful that her numbers are behaving themselves and she'll get a break here pretty soon. She's doing very well in the hospital. Bored, actually, she's feeling so well.
We celebrated Nancy's 78th birthday on Friday. The girls took her out to lunch and then shopping at Joann's, which is one of her favorites, except she walked way too much. And then we took her out to dinner. So yesterday she slept all day and she was still asleep when I left this morning. She was at dinner, her usual kind of flashback self, and she maintained that for about half an hour. And then she just kind of faded and sat there quietly and tried to eat. She doesn't eat much anymore, but she had a really good time, saw lots of her kids, and so that was fun.
I mentioned earlier, but I'll say it again during joys and concerns. We need to remember Loring and Beth in our prayers, because Loring has been diagnosed with pneumonia and Beth has all the same symptoms, but the doctor did not think she actually had pneumonia. So they need our prayers.
Well, let's hold those concerns and joys in God's light and love as we center into silence, and then I will speak out of the silence as led. Loving and gracious God, we give you thanks for this time to be together, to see each other, to worship together, to sit in silence with you and listen for your voice. We hold those in the need of physical healing in your light and healing love. Pray that you be with them, give them what they need to make it through. We thank you for the common joys of everyday life, for birthdays and other celebrations. We ask that you imbue our meeting with your presence in a way that we might feel it, be uplifted by it, and go forth prepared to do your work. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, those of you who know me know I am rarely at a loss for words, which is one reason is somebody said, so are you a Quaker because you're naturally quiet? And I said, well, you obviously don't know me very well. I'm a Quaker because I need the quiet, the reminders to be quiet, to not talk all the time. And the last few weeks, I've been spending a lot of time with words. I've been, there is a hawk trying to get in the window here. Writing devotionals for Fruit of the Vine, prepare a series of workshops at Cincinnati Friends next weekend, writing a book of short stories that's almost done. And as I was working on what to say this week, lots of different disparate thoughts came in my mind. I used to pronounce that desperate, and maybe that's what they actually were this week, was desperate thoughts. What am I going to think of talk about? And finally, I just looking through some things, I thought, I've always heard it was better to keep silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and confirm it. And so instead of my own words, I'm actually going to share some words from other people that sustain me. Sort of like Lynn does her hymns greatest hits on the Sunday she leads. I've got some things to share from Quakers through the years. Some you may know and some you may not. But I'm using it as a text because I am an evangelical Quaker growing up, so I have a Bible text. And in the first chapter of Proverbs, it says, listen, my son, to your father's instruction. Do not forsake your mother's teaching. They will be a garland to grace your head and a chain to adorn your neck. And I thought about all the teachers I've had over the years, the mothers and the fathers in the faith. And so I want to share some of their words with you. And some I will say something about just so you know who they are. The first is a prayer by a fellow named Inazo Nitobe, who is a Japanese Quaker. And if there aren't many in Wyoming, there aren't many in Japan either. But he was such a prominent person that he is one of the few Quakers to have his picture on a national currency. He was quite a diplomat and a profound spiritual person. And I've loved this prayer for years. I ask for daily bread, but not for wealth, lest I forget the poor. I ask for strength, but not for power, lest I despise the meek. I ask for wisdom, but not for learning, lest I scorn the simple. I ask for a clean name, but not for fame, lest I condemn the lowly. I ask for peace of mind, but not for idle hours, lest I fail to hearken to the call of duty. Again, that's from Inazo Nitobe, who lived from 1862 to 1933. is very influential among friends on the East Coast, amazingly, because he came and visited Philadelphia area friends quite a bit. And he spurred interest in Japanese culture. And if you ever go to places on the East Coast, like Pendle Hill, and even up and down the SEPTA lines, the railroad lines, you'll see bamboo groves. And they were started partly in response to their fascination with Inazo. And they began importing bamboo and planting it. Of course, now it's an invasive and it's horrible, but I ask for peace of mind, but not for idle hours, lest I fail to hearken to the call of duty. Next one's from a British friend from about that same period, Caroline Stephen. You may have heard her name before. Words may help, and silence may help. But the one thing needful is that the heart should turn to its maker as the needle to its pole. And for this, we must be still. Words may help and silence may help. But the one thing needful is that the heart should turn to its maker as a needle turns to the pole. For this, we must be still. As I said, I grew up in an evangelical church. One of the things we like to talk about a lot was Jesus and who he was and his nature and what did all this mean? And that continued on through college and seminary, and even as after seminary and theological debates. What did the atonement mean? What did this mean? What was Jesus' true message, and so forth? Lucretia Mott, who's not a person I think of talking about Jesus a lot, she lived from 1793 to 1880. She said, the likeness we bear to Jesus is more essential than our notions of him. I love that. The likeness we bear of Jesus is more essential than our notions of him. Many of you know our friend Richard Foster, author of the well-known book, The Celebration of Discipline, and so many others. He's coming out with a new one pretty soon. Looking forward to it. He's often thought of for his lofty ideas on prayer, money, simplicity, the spiritual disciplines. But this is one of my favorite quotes of his. The discovery of God lies in the daily and the ordinary, not in the spectacular and the heroic. If we cannot find God in the routines of home and shop, then we will not find him at all. The holy ordinary. Kathleen Lonsdale, who's a British friend who lived in the 20th century, she died in 71, writes something similar to Lucretia Mott's. To me, being a Christian is a particular way of life. Being the kind of person that Jesus wanted his followers to be and doing the things he told them to do. Nor it seems to me, can you live a Christian life unless Jesus, you believe in the power of goodness, of mercy, and of love. It's Kathleen Lonsdale. Another British friend, and our farmer friends may not know his name, but they should. A fellow named John Hoyland. He was a big developer of seeds and seed packets in Britain, and became quite wealthy in supplying seeds for agriculture. He lived from 1830 to 94. He writes this poem. From this fog-bound earth of ours, we take refuge in you. Oh, rest our souls. Escaping like birds from a broken cage to the clean air and the sunny uplands where you dwell, and with you find relief from meanness of spirit, from jealousy, slander, hypocrisy, from selfish ambition, from the insidious darkness that broods and breeds in our will and hides the vision of the good and the pathway of peace. We take refuge in you. Let us walk honestly in the daylight. Of course, most of us know the name Thomas Kelly. Good Ohio boy, graduate of Wilmington College. I was invited to do orientation for the new trustees of Wilmington College this week on Quaker business practice and how we practice it at the college level. And when they put a slide up, there was a picture of Thomas there. One of his quotes is, only the inner vision of God, only the God blindedness of unreservedly dedicated souls, only the utterly humble ones can bow and break the raging pride of a power-mad world. He wrote those before 1940, those words, and I think how true they are today, especially his description of our world. Only the utterly humble ones can bow and break the raging pride of a power-mad world. I find encouragement in that because we are a small and humble group in the sense of size and power. And I think that's right where we should be. But we do speak truth to power, and hopefully with love. Bayard Rustin, who some of us know, others don't. He was a Black man from Philadelphia. He was gay in a time when that certainly wasn't accepted. He died in 87, was born in 1912. It's one of the organizers of the March on Washington with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And at the march at first, he was also the one who introduced Martin Luther King Jr. to he and Howard Thurman to the power of nonviolence. And the writings of Quakers and others about nonviolence. But the March on Washington, sadly, until Martin Luther King Jr. intervened, he was not to be on the platform because he was gay. He's called often the unknown prophet, especially among Quakers. He's also one who coined the phrase that this world needs some angelic troublemakers. But this quote is, the moral man is he who is opposed to injustice per se, opposed to injustice wherever he finds it. The moral man looks for injustice, first of all, in himself. The moral man is he who is opposed to injustice, opposed to it wherever he finds it. The moral man looks for justice, first of all, injustice, first in himself. something I need to hear often. Phyllis Richards, a British friend who passed away in 71, said, "It is for this grace that we pray, that we too may love to excess, even though it may appear foolish in the eyes of the world." I've heard so many discussions at times, especially in various monthly meetings, about charity and giving to the poor, or somebody who walks in off the street. And we don't want to give money that's not used well. We might, that sounds foolish, but I love this quote, that we may too love to excess, even though when it may appear foolish in the eyes of the world. And the final quote I'll share with you is a prayer, since I opened with Inazo Nitobe's prayer, a Japanese man. I'm going to close with one by Pierre Ceresole, who was a French Quaker, and there's not many of them either, but he was very big in the League of Nations and other international events, and working for international volunteerism between the wars, the two world wars. He died in 1945. Eternal God, let thy spirit inspire and guide us. Thy will be done. Give us the strength to fulfill our task without selfishness, slothfulness, or cowardice. Give us the strength to withstand temptations and to forgive others as we would wish them freely to forgive us. Enable us to repay those who offend us only by redoubling our endeavors never to offend others. Eternal God, we will listen to thy call and obey it in order that we may hear it ever more clearly. Give us the honesty to examine our own acts and thoughts as scrupulously and severely as we do those of others. Teach us compassion. Enable us to make a real effort to relieve the suffering of others. Give us quiet courage needed in all circumstances and natural to whomever has consecrated his life to thee. Do not let any defeat, any fall or backsliding ever separate us from thee. In the midst of our weakness, let thy love take hold of us, and little by little lift us up to thee. Amen. Thank you, Norma. We'll now move further into our time of unprogrammed worship. We'll say goodbye to those who need to leave, like Norma. She has more ministry to do this morning. So blessings on you, and we hope to see you next week. Well, friends' hearts are clear. We'll end meeting for worship of Sunday school in a few minutes, looking at Tamar. All are welcome to join in that discussion. It will probably be lively. Always is.
Interesting person.
Yes, another interesting person in the Bible. Okay, it's good to see you,
Bye.
Jonathan.
Bye.
Sue, take care.
Bye, take care.